Welcome to Suncook River Camp in Suncook, New Hampshire. The owners of this campground purchased it in 2024, and since that time they've been working to improve it and build upon what was already there. As such, by the time you go here, it will probably look a little different than it does in this video. Nestled on the banks of the Suncook River, from which the campground takes its name, there are beaches at both ends, which allows for tubing. When we were here, the river was very slow, taking about an hour to go from one end to the other of the campground. Let's take a moment to get our bearings. We're starting at the green area by the one beach and close to cabin G3. Speaking of cabin G3, that's it coming up on our right. Do you notice the carpet out there? There's no one staying here, but it's out because the campground lays it out ready for you, so all you have to do is arrive and relax. Just past cabin G3 begins the RV sites. They're all set up in this parallel park along the river edge, with power poles between them and picnic tables. You may notice each one of the power poles already has a surge protector on it, so it's one less thing for you to do to set up and begin. In addition to cabins and RV sites, they also have what they call bell tents and geodetic tents. We'll see those in a little bit. They really try to think of everything at this campground. Back at the first beach, you saw tubes and kayaks and canoes. They're all available for rent for very reasonable prices during your stay. So if you didn't bring one, you have them. It's the whole premise of this campground. Everything's here, no need to leave. This is us, Site 6. As you can see, we're right along the edge of the river, right off the edge of the road. I probably should have a cone for the slide because it is kind of close, which is a little different than a lot of campgrounds, but it isn't a problem because this campground really isn't that big, so there's not a huge amount of traffic going through it. This is another one of the rental cabins you can see. It's a little bit bigger than the first three. It has a large patio area all overlooking the river. As we head back into the campground, you'll notice this section feels a little different. From what we understand, this section hasn't been updated like where we've walked before. It does contain a couple rental units, like the bus you see ahead that's being converted, and the tents, but is currently mostly seasonal. We are unsure at this time if that's going to continue or if it's going to change to fit more rental units and RV spaces. But this section is a little wider as the road's a little further away from the river. These are the geodetic tents I was talking about earlier. They're set up on a platform and have a normal door to walk in, windows, right on the river, ready to go. Just beyond the last tent, you'll notice a raised little building. That's the bathhouse for the geodetic tents. Did I mention they have vintage campers? Well, they do. These little guys are rental units that you can rent for a weekend here. They actually had a parade while we were here, and one of them was in the parade downtown. Here's a second school bus that was rumored to be being converted into a rental unit. We're getting to the end of the main road, just before the second beach. If you notice on the map, there's 2 campsites just beyond the turn, and then the road loops all the way around. It's unknown at this time if that part will be developed or will be left wooded. Speaking of wood, here comes one of the owners out on a firewood delivery. All the way down at the end of the main road, you'll find the second beach. Funny thing is, from what we understand, tubing's supposed to work in the way we just walked, from the beach we were at to this one. However, on the second day we were here, the river was so slow, with the breeze, the tubes were actually floating upstream and not down. This is a bit of a different view of our site, coming back from the way we came. The road off to the right heads up to one of the main bathhouses into the tent and rental tent area. We'll go that way in a minute. This is the bathhouse I was talking about. There's an outside dishwashing station, private stalls for showers, and 2 nice bathrooms on it. Beyond it, with where the cones are, you'll find a dump station. As the sites for the RVs in this campground are 2-way sites, you'll probably have to visit this if you come in your RV. These are the tent sites. You can see a pop-up trailer in there and some tents just through the trees. And then these are what they call bell tents. These are set up with beds, coolers, fire pits, adorable lighting, ready for you to go. Notice the fire pits are actually little solo stoves? It's a nice touch. One thing they try to do here is make sure there's plenty of activities. From movie nights to video game nights on the big screen, playgrounds with shade for the parents, shrinky dinks, all sorts of crafts. They're trying to make it a nice experience for everyone. There's a pool just beyond the trees that we thoroughly enjoyed. Some of the campers you see across the way are rumored to be rental units coming up soon as they continue to expand the campground. This campground's conveniently located to Boston and Manchester and gets you a lot of the same things you would going up to the White Mountains without having to drive. So I recommend you give it a shot.